back again for another knowledge-enriching activity about the properties of matter. Since we were just 5th grader, we do know what matter is, right? Well, matter is made up of tiny particles called atoms and can be represented or explained as something that takes up space. It must display both the mass and the volume properties. Now, properties are the characteristics that enables us to differentiate one material from another. Properties are divided into two, the physical and the chemical properties. A physical property is an attribute of matter that is independent of its chemical composition. Additionally, any characteristics that can be measured, such as object's density, color, mass, volume, length, and others, are all considered properties of matter. Moving on, we do have what we call the two types of the physical properties of matter: the intensive property and the extensive property. Intensive property is a bulk property, which means it's a system's local physical property that is independent of the system's size or volume of material. It depends on the identity or type of matter. Now, the color of these shoes are pink, the smell of my perfume is pleasant, the soft texture of this cotton, and the hardness of this rock or a metallic luster are some examples of intensive properties. Since we have identified the color, the odorness, texture, luster, and hardness without changing its size or volume of quantity. Extensive property, on the other hand, is a property that is dependent on the amount of matter. Mass and volume are examples of extensive properties. The length of this baton, 10 liters of distilled water, and a mass of a 2-kilogram rice are all examples of an extensive property. Physical properties are properties that can be observed without changing the matter into something new. For example, I have here a colored paper. I can describe some of its physical properties, including the color, its shape, and texture. I have described these without changing the fact that it's a paper. If I crumble or tore it apart, it's still a paper. Now, what if I lit this paper on fire? What would happen? This would bring us to another attribute of properties of matter, the chemical property. If I want to test its chemical properties, I need to change it to something else. When I lit this paper on fire, it would change the fact that it's paper, and it would turn into something else, from paper to ashes, by flammability. Now, this would also bring us to another different ways we can change matter, the physical and the chemical change. Here is an example. I will be breaking this raw egg and put it in an empty bowl. Breaking an egg is a physical change because breaking an eggshell does not cause any change in its chemical composition or that of the egg. However, if I cook this raw egg, add some seasoning to it, and put it on the pan with oil and heat, and I'm going to fry it, this will lead us to chemical change, because frying an egg is a chemical reaction. It is an example of endothermic reaction, or one that takes in heat to make the reaction occur. An egg is made up of proteins and water, and the yolk also contains fat. Now you may wonder, why frying an egg a chemical change? The heat in the frying process gives energy to the egg's molecule and brings out a permanent change in texture and appearance through a process called denaturing. Chemical properties are extremely helpful when it comes to distinguishing compounds, and this can only be detected when a material is in the process of being changed into another substance. We need to understand the properties of matter because it is made up of it, the solid, liquid, and gas, as 3 phases of matter, and the physical and chemical properties that is present everywhere and every day around us. That's all for today, everyone. Thank you for listening. See you soon for our next video.